My cheating wife still hopes for reconciliation. I remember the day I found out. It was an ordinary Tuesday. I came home early, hoping to surprise her with dinner. Instead, I was the one surprised, finding her in our bed with another man. The shock was visceral, the pain indescribable. Without a word, I turned and walked out, vowing never to return. I left my phone, my car, everything. I took only what I could carry and drove until the gas ran out, then walked until I found the cabin. Today's story will keep you on the edge of your seat. Trust me, you won't want to miss this one. So, grab your favorite drink, get comfortable, and let's get into it. If you're excited about this story, let us know. If you enjoyed the video, press 1. If not, press 0. Your feedback really inspires me to gather more uplifting and meaningful stories. I never thought I'd hear her voice again. The desperate, almost frantic tone cut through the static of the old radio like a knife. Josh, please, if you're listening. I just want to talk. My breath hitched, heart pounding in the dimly lit cabin I'd called home for the past 5 years. I leaned closer, hand trembling as I turned up the volume. Her voice, the one I once loved and now couldn't escape, echoed in the silence, reminding me of everything I tried to leave behind. And just like that, the past clawed its way back, refusing to be buried. It's been 5 years since I vanished from Emma's life. 5 years since I discovered the affair that shattered our marriage and fled, leaving no trace behind. I became a ghost, a phantom of the man I once was, hidden away in a secluded cabin deep in the mountains. The betrayal was too much to bear, and disappearing seemed like the only way to cope. I traded my life for solitude, exchanging the chaos of my broken heart for the tranquility of nature. Emma and I had met in college, our romance blossoming amidst the rigors of exams and late-night study sessions. She was my first love, and I was hers. We married young, full of hope and dreams. We built a life together, a house that echoed with laughter and the pitter-patter of our dog, Max. But as the years passed, our love grew complacent. I threw myself into my career, often leaving Emma to fend for herself. In hindsight, maybe I was partly to blame for her seeking comfort elsewhere. I remember the day I found out. It was an ordinary Tuesday. I came home early, hoping to surprise her with dinner. Instead, I was the one surprised, finding her in our bed with another man. The shock was visceral, the pain indescribable. Without a word, I turned and walked out, vowing never to return. I left my phone, my car, everything. I took only what I could carry and drove until the gas ran out, then walked until I found the cabin. Living off the grid wasn't easy, but it was necessary. The cabin was old and creaky, with no electricity or running water. I hunted, fished, and grew my own food. The isolation was a balm for my wounded soul, giving me the space to grieve and heal. Max was my only companion, his loyal presence a reminder of the life I once had. For years, I heard nothing from Emma. I assumed she had moved on, perhaps remarried or relocated. But then, one cold winter night, her voice crackled through the old radio I'd salvaged from a nearby abandoned shed. Josh, please, if you're listening. I just want to talk. Her plea was a dagger to my heart, reopening wounds I thought had healed. I ignored it at first, convincing myself it was a fluke, a random transmission. But the messages kept coming, each one more desperate than the last. Josh, I miss you. I made a mistake. Please, come back. A part of me wanted to respond, to scream at her for the pain she caused, to demand answers. But another part, the part that had found peace in my solitude, resisted. I couldn't go back. Not after everything. Weeks passed, and the messages continued. Emma's voice grew hoarse, her pleas more urgent. I know you're out there. I can feel it. Please, just let me explain. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, I found myself at a crossroads. I could continue to ignore her, let her voice fade into the ether, or I could confront my past, face the woman who had torn my world apart. The next morning, I packed a small bag and set off towards the nearest town, a 2-day hike through the dense forest. Max trotted by my side, his tail wagging in anticipation of the adventure. The journey was grueling, but the thought of seeing Emma again kept me going. When I finally reached the town, I made my way to the small radio station that broadcasted her messages. The receptionist, a kind elderly woman, seemed taken aback by my appearance. "Can I help you?" she asked, eyeing my ragged clothes and unkempt beard. "I'm here to see Emma," I replied, my voice steady despite the turmoil within. The receptionist nodded and led me to a small office at the back. There, sitting behind a cluttered desk, was Emma. Her eyes widened in shock as she saw me, tears immediately welling up. "Josh," she whispered, standing up and rushing towards me. I raised a hand, stopping her in her tracks. "Don't," I said, my voice cold. "Just talk." Emma nodded, swallowing hard. "I know I hurt you. I made a terrible mistake. But I need you to know, it wasn't just a fling. It was a moment of weakness, a cry for help. I never stopped loving you, Josh. Please, believe me. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this story. If you enjoyed the video, press 1. If not, press 0. Your feedback is my fuel to gather more inspiring and meaningful stories. Thank you." Her words hung in the air, heavy with emotion. I wanted to believe her, to forgive and forget. But the pain was still too raw, the betrayal too deep. "Why now?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "Why after all these years?" Emma took a deep breath, her eyes locking onto mine. "Because I realized I can't live without you. I've been searching for you, hoping you'd give me a chance to make things right. I know it won't be easy, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes." I studied her, searching for any sign of deceit. But all I saw was a woman broken by her own actions, desperate for redemption. "I don't know if I can ever forgive you," I admitted, my heart heavy. "I understand," she replied, tears streaming down her face. But I had to try. We stood there in silence, the weight of our past pressing down on us. I didn't have the answers, and maybe I never would. But as I turned to leave, I felt a glimmer of hope. Perhaps, in time, we could find a way to heal. As I walked away from the radio station, the sun setting behind me, I couldn't help but wonder. Would I ever be able to let go of the past? Could Emma and I truly start over? The questions lingered, unanswered, leaving me to ponder the uncertain future that lay ahead. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this story. If you enjoyed the video, press 1. If not, press 0. Your feedback is my fuel to gather more inspiring and meaningful stories. Thank you. In the months that followed, Emma's voice faded from the radio, but her presence remained a constant in my thoughts. I returned to my cabin, but the solitude I once cherished now felt suffocating. I found myself replaying our conversations, analyzing every word, every tear. One day, while tending to my garden, I heard a familiar sound, a car engine. I turned to see Emma standing at the edge of the clearing, her eyes wide with determination. "I couldn't stay away," she said, her voice trembling. I sighed, wiping the sweat from my brow. "Emma, I told you." "I know," she interrupted, stepping closer. "But I'm not giving up on us. I'll stay here, in the town nearby, as long as it takes. I just want to prove to you that I'm serious." Her persistence was both infuriating and oddly comforting. Part of me wanted to push her away, but another part, the part that still loved her, wanted to see if we could find a way forward. Days turned into weeks, and Emma remained true to her word. She rented a small cabin in town, visiting me regularly, helping with chores, and slowly rebuilding the trust we had lost. It wasn't easy, and there were days when the pain resurfaced, threatening to tear us apart again. But through it all, Emma's resolve never wavered. She listened to my anger, my sadness, and my doubts without flinching. She faced her own guilt head-on, acknowledging the damage she had done. One evening, as we sat by the fire, Emma reached for my hand. "Josh, I know I've asked for a lot. But there's one more thing I need to know. Can you ever see a future where we can be happy again?" I stared into the flames, the flickering light reflecting the turmoil in my heart. "I don't know," I admitted. "But I'm willing to try." We'd love to hear your thoughts on this story. If you enjoyed the video, press 1. If not, press 0. Your feedback is my fuel to gather more inspiring and meaningful stories. Thank you. And so, we embarked on a new journey, one fraught with uncertainty but also filled with the possibility of redemption. The road ahead was long and winding, with no guarantees. But as we faced the unknown together, I felt a glimmer of hope, a hope that, despite everything, we might find a way to heal and rebuild what was broken. Years later, as I sit by the same fire, I still ponder the questions that haunted me that fateful day. Could we ever truly move past the pain? Did we ever find the happiness we sought? The answers remain elusive, a testament to the complexities of love and forgiveness. But one thing is certain: Emma's determination and my willingness to try gave us a chance. And sometimes, a chance is all you need to begin anew. Crazy, right? But hold on, because the next story is going to blow your mind even further.